Please turn to textbook page 122 and 123. Now I'm going to talk about noun counters. So in English, when you counter some item, you just say 1, 2, 3, 4. But in Korea, you have to add a counter for each different item. Use a different counter for different items. And nouns are classified into many groups depending on the shape or kind. So for example, the book, 책, and the proper counter is 권. So whenever you count a book, use this counter. And for animal, the counter is 말이. And the counter for the general item like a product, then you use this counter, 개. For the person, you use a counter for 명 or 사람, or sometimes the other person, the proper counter is 분. Okay, some counters take Sino-Korean numbers while others take native Korean numbers. So depending on the counters, you use a different set of numbers. So for example, the senior, how do you say senior? 4학년. So as you can see here, you use what? The Sino-Korean numbers. But when you counter animal, use this counter 말이, and you use 네 마리, which is the native Korean numbers. That's a tricky part. So the following table shows the counter they use with the two different set of numbers. On the right side, all these counters take native Korean numbers. 사람, when you count a person, 한 사람, 두 사람, 세 사람, 말이, animal, or general item, or the book, or counting for chapter or lesson, or counter for hours, counter for month, all of them take only native Korean numbers. Whether on the right side of the table, these kind of counters take Sino-Korean numbers. Floor, 1층, 2층, 3층, 4층, lesson number, chapter number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 과. This is a 과, meaning lesson. Korean currency, all kind of currency, whether it's a dollar or Korean currency, use the Sino-Korean numbers, and Korean currency is 1. School year, we learned 1학년, 2학년, 3학년, 4학년, Sino-Korean numbers, year, a month, year, all of them take Sino-Korean numbers. But this is the general rule of thumb. When counting item, native Korean numbers are used. When identifying numeral value, Sino-Korean numbers tend to be used. So for example, the floor, 5층, the fifth floor with the Sino-Korean numbers, when you count a person, then 5명 we use with the native Korean numbers. Sometimes some of the counter take both Sino-Korean numbers and native Korean numbers, but with a different connotation. So 삼가 refers to lesson 3, while 세과 refers to 3 lessons. 오늘 3과를 공부해요. That means 3, Sino-Korean number, lesson 3. But if you say 오늘 세 과 공부해, that means we are studying 3 lessons today. So these have a different meanings. Okay. What you have to understand is that we have to review native Korean numbers. When native Korean numbers are combined with the counter, the forms are slightly modified, different. So 하나 becomes 한, 둘 becomes 두, 셋 becomes 세, 넷 becomes 네. So you remove the consonant at the end. 두, 세, 네, and then number 20 is small, and you remove 리을 at the end. 수, 무. So whenever the native Korean number, these kind of numbers with a counter, use these kind of forms. Okay, 자 그러면 let's count the number, each different items. So you're counting apple. Then what is the counter? 개. One item, 한 개, 두 개, 세 개, 네 개, 다섯 개, 여섯 개, 일곱 개, 여덟 개, 아홉 개, 열 개. Person. One person, 한 명. Two persons, 두 명, 세 명, 네 명. Four person, 다섯 명, 여섯 명, 일곱 명, 여덟 명, 9명, 10 person, 10명. So the counter for person is 명. For animal, what was the counter? 마리. 한 마리, 두 마리, 세 마리, 네 마리, 5마리, 6마리, 7마리, 8마리, 9마리, 10마리. Volume of the book, 권. Counter is 권. 1권, 2권, 3권, 4권, 5권, 6권, 7권, 8권, 9권, 10권. For hour, the counter is 시간. For 1 hour, 1시간, 2 hours, 2시간, 3시간, 4시간, 5시간, 6시간, 7시간, 8시간, 9시간, 10시간. Month, month is 달. Goes on. Okay, word order in counting, we always follow this basic pattern. Noun, number, and counter. So let's say you have one bag. You starting with the noun in question, which is bag, 가방. One bag is 가방, one item, 개. So 한 개, that means one bag. 가방 한 개. 동생, I have two younger siblings. 동생, noun, with the number, counter. 동생, 2명. Notice that when you count a person, use this counter, 명. 책, 3권. 3 books. 개, 4마리. 개 means a dog. 4 dogs. 개, 4마리. So, 책, 한 권, one volume of book. 3 person, 세 사람, or 3명, or 7. These are all meaning the counter for people. And then 분 is honored expression for the counter for person. 사과, apple, 사과 3개, 개 4마리, 4 dogs, 5층, okay. And I want you to know the question word 몇, always followed by some kind of counter. 몇 층, what floor, 몇 명, 몇 마리, 몇 권, 몇 시간, 몇 학년이에요, what year, 몇 층, what floor, 몇 명, how many people, 몇 마리, how many animal, or 몇 개, how many items, 몇 개. Okay. 자, when you create a, we reviewed the two textbooks is you're starting with the noun with the number and counter. 교과서 2권. That means 2 textbooks. And how to say how many textbooks? We just reviewed how many? 몇. And usually 교과서 몇 권. So this is the correct order. A little bit different because in question word, in English, you probably start with at the beginning of the sentence. Korean is a little bit different. You start with the number, the noun in question. 교과서 몇 권. 교과서 몇 권. That means how many textbooks. So this is the way to create a sentence. How many? I have 2 textbooks. How to say that? I, the subject, 저는 2 textbooks. What is the item that in question? 교과서. 교과서가 number 2, 2권. Always, whenever you express possession, use this verb 있어요. So this is the way. I have 2 textbooks. 교과서가 2권 있어요. Or you include 저는 part. How many textbooks do you have? 교과서 몇 권 있어요. 몇 권. So usually the 몇 권, this kind of question word just before this verb 있어요. 교과서가 몇 권 있어요. That means how many textbooks do you have? I just want you to create a sentence. 책이, I have one book, one volume of book. 책이 한 권 있어요. 책이 한 권 있어요. I have 2 books. 책이 2권 있어요. 책이, I have 3 books. 3권 있어요. 교과서가 몇 권 있어요? How many textbooks do you have? 교과서가 I have 2 textbooks. 2권 있어요. 가방이 몇 개 있어요? How many bags do you have? 가방이 2개 있어요. I have 2 bags. 개가 몇 마리 있어요? How many dogs do you have? 개가 There are 4 dogs. 개가 4마리 있어요. 사과, apple. 사과가 몇 개 있어요? 사과가 4개 있어요. 자, I want you to turn to textbook page 124 exercise. How many books do you have? 집에 책이 몇 권 있어요? How many students are there in the Korean class? 한국어 수업에 학생이 몇 명 있어요? What lesson do we study today? 오늘 몇 과 공부해요? How many lessons are there in the history textbook? 교과서에 몇 과가 있어요? Which floor is the Korean language classroom? 한국어 수업이 몇 층에 있어요? 시계가 몇 개 있어요? 한국 친구가 몇 명 있어요?